We live? All right. Can you see me? How's it look? All right, y'all. We're going live. We're going to start in just a minute. We're going to let people hop in for a second. We got Michelle, my producer, behind you. If you have any comments, concerns, it's all her fault. I'm just kidding. She's the best. We're going to get started in just a minute. All right, guys, we are live. Can you see us on Facebook? Did you find me on Facebook? Michelle's got to find me on Facebook. Oh, this is a lot, y'all. Hey, this is fun. I'm going to go ahead and silence my phone so y'all won't bother me. Actually, it's been silenced. Oh, it's been silenced all day. No wonder I haven't been bothered. Sorry, I've been missing some text messages because it's been on silent. All right, we're going to get started with our beginners boot camp in just a second. I'm just giving y'all a chance to log in, to find us. If you're YouTube, or if you got the link through Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook Live, then y'all can comment. So just if you have questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the chat box, and we should be able to see them there. And of course, if you need us, want to reach out, you can shoot me a DM, shoot me a message, anything in the comments. I'll come back and see it later if you had a question. All right. So I'm going to just keep stalling for about one more minute until we go live on our beginner boot camp. And just so you know, this is usually a really in-depth, long boot camp that we teach. And I have shrunk it down and brought some of the best stuff up front so that you guys can get the best value faster out of this boot camp. Because I know everyone is busy, and I just heard the other day that basically our attention span in humans is now like 3 seconds. So if you're still listening, thank y'all for your attention. So are we good to go, babe?
Where are you on Facebook?
On Facebook, just on my page. Time out, pause. I will. All right, guys, I'm just going to fix something real quick. And we'll be up and running. If you're not watching this, if you haven't seen it, hopefully we cut this part out of the recording.
I don't know if it would just be right there on your page.
There it is. If you just go to my homepage, I'm there. Oh, unless it might just be streaming to me, so let me fix that. This happened last time, you guys. I was like, go to my Facebook, there's a live stream, and it was only streaming to me. It's a weird thing to do, isn't it? Let's see. I'm trying to find the button that says, okay. It says I'm live. You don't see me?
I do not.
I'm going to email this to you, and then you can check that, and you can share this. Okay? All right, let's go live. All right, we are in. We're going. Michelle, let me know if that doesn't work, and I'll try something else, and then when we get to a break. But we're at our beginner boot camp, or Real Estate 101. We're going to talk through some things that will help you decide if real estate investing is for you, which I think it is. It should be for everybody. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I do believe it is. And then how you can get started in it. So grab a pen and paper, take some notes. I am going to have a little bit of homework for you as well. So Deal Finders, this is who we are. If you are local, anywhere in South Carolina, come to our events. We do events similar to this. Usually they're not live streamed. We do meetups once a month. We do rehab walkthroughs. We go through all kinds of beat up houses, and you can check out our renovations. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But if not, just make sure you hit us up on our website, dealfinders.com. All right. Today we do have a big agenda. We do have a lot of things to go through. If you guys are watching and something piques your interest, you have a question, you have a comment, make sure to put it in the comments wherever you're watching. Leave us a note, leave us a message, and I'll try to answer that question for you live. If not, I'll get back to you when afterwards. Okay. So this is what we're going to go through today. Again, we're going to make it powerful, impactful, and hopefully help you in your business. Okay. Let me give you a disclaimer since this is live streamed on the internet, the interweb, and who knows where it goes. I just want to make sure you know that we're not making any claims regards to income, results, earnings, profits, anything like that. It's your own responsibility to do your own business and to grow your own business. I'm here just to share our experiences of we have done, some things that worked, some things that didn't, what we have helped other people do. We'll share some of that. And it's all on you after that, guys. Well, when we go into partnerships with people, we can affect income and profits and things like that because we're in a partnership. But if you're doing this out there, watching this, it's all on you. All right. This real estate's no get rich quick scheme or strategy. It is an investment. It's a business, and you have to stick with it. And you got to be consistent. Okay. So investing your time and money in marketing is probably the most important thing to do in order to get to success. Of course, your results will vary. We're not guaranteeing anything. I always say this: legal advice, get your CPAs to look at stuff, your attorneys to look at stuff before you go and jump into any kind of business opportunity. All right. Most of you watching this, unfortunately, you won't do a deal. Most of you will quit because it's going to get hard. If you go to my last video, live stream, we're talking about the hard parts of this and how disappointing and distraction can really mess you up. Most people, unfortunately, fall into that trap and they don't make it out. So I'm hoping that by giving you all these steps, these strategies can help you get through that and find your way to success. All right. Our goal at Deal Finders is to help you connect, learn, and build your businesses. All right. That's what we're doing here. This is the learning piece. If you're not part of the community, the Facebook community is REI Deal Finders. You go to Facebook groups, REI Deal Finders, dealfindersclub.com/links. I realize you can't read that, but dealfindersclub.com/links. And Michelle can maybe type that in the comments for you. Oh, yeah. She's going to be getting it. All right. So join our meetup group. If you don't know what meetup is great for the calendar, helps you stay up to date on different events that are happening in the real estate world. So ours is Deal Finders Live. So meetup.com/Deal Finders Live. All right. So just a little bit about me and Michelle, my beautiful wife here, and our kids, our 3 children. Talk a little bit about them in a little bit. But yes, local investor. We do all of our investing pretty close to where we live. We've been doing this for about 17 years now, full-time since 2018, however many years that is now. And we do pretty much everything in real estate right now that makes sense for our business, for us. So it's buying, holding, lending, renting out houses, that sort of thing. And most importantly, we started this business back, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Michelle doesn't know this is coming. Back in 2015, 2016, we went into this because of the family, because of our family. We wanted to grow the family and to have our family be able to have free time and be together with our family. So that's how we started this, and this is why we are growing this into a family business, hopefully. And fear of the Lord helps us stay on the straight and narrow. All right. So this is a little bit about us. You guys, a lot of you might be in the same place, same situation. So if you are, great. This is a good way to go about it. All right. Just a little bit more about us right there. All right. And I'm going to pause this because it's playing. Oh, never mind. It's playing slides that were supposed to be hidden. But then I just realized I think I deleted most of the ones that were supposed to be hidden. So sorry, y'all had some extra slides there. And so it's fine. And all right, so where did we all get started? So right here in Columbia, in case you're fine, you're not making too much noise. You're good. I'm recording up here. You're good. Um, so so we started right here. This is the house I grew up in. My parents are still in that house, and this is really where I say where this is where it all started. This is where my entrepreneurial bug where I found it. Where I started thinking outside the box. Started saying, you know what, my parents they worked for the same company for as long as I can remember. I think my mom retired after like 40 years with them. My dad's been there. He's still there. And it's probably close to 40 forever. They worked there. Um, and it was fine. I mean, obviously provided a wonderful life growing up. My brother and sister, we didn't need anything. We didn't want anything. It was fine. There was something about that it felt like it was a little bit of a box. And as Michelle could tell you, I don't like being in a box. And I think God made me that way. And so I started thinking outside the box. Ended up going to college just because that was the thing to do. I had no real idea what I was going for, where I was going, but I went. And that bug, the entrepreneur bug, had me thinking like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do when I grow up? I don't really know. Went to college for business. Of course, everybody goes for business, but you don't know what you're going to do. And so I went there and just went to class. I did enjoy the accounting, the economics. I enjoyed those classes, but again, I felt like if it was going to be doing that for my whole life, and some of y'all probably feel this way right now, uh, that if looking forward 40 years, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was gonna be an accountant for 40 years." That was a box, and it was driving me crazy. I just couldn't sleep at night with that sort of thought. And so, uh, if you're in that situation, you're not alone. There's many, many people out there, and that's how people find real estate a lot of times is they're looking for, all right, I don't necessarily want to be in this box forever. It's providing me a living and an income, but there's got to be something else out there that can give me either fulfillment and just creativity or most likely some additional cash flow and wealth building opportunities. So that's where I was. What am I supposed to do? I have no idea. And so I started uh, looking around for things that I could do to make money that was different and entrepreneurial, like it was on my own time. So some of y'all may have thought about this, not just selling candy, but when I was in high school and middle school, I was buying pieces of candy and then selling them to the other kids, right? Well, I thought, well, why not do that at a bigger scale? And you can do vending machines. Uh, Me and a roommate of mine, we said, you know what? We could go open a car wash, a mobile detailing. We could take our trucks around and go wash cars. I'm sure some of y'all thought of that too. Power washing, pressure washing, thought about that deal. We could start that with just a water hose and a truck. I even went down so far as to go to Quiznos. You don't remember Quiznos? Do you remember Quiznos? So Quiznos was famous in the so I went from business school to hospitality. So they were kind of famous for growth. So they rocketed out. It was pretty good franchise, pretty good food. But what they did is they focused on franchising and just started throwing out, just open them up anywhere and everywhere. So you could get one relatively quick and easy and cheap. Uh, but that was, I'm glad I didn't go down that road. But that was one of the things I was thinking, like franchising a store or a restaurant or something. Or even and then it's like, okay, well, that's really expensive, and then you're kind of in a box, right? Well, how about franchise on wheels, doing food trucks? That was my next kind of thought. Um, there's the vending machines. I'm sure many of y'all have gone through these ATM machines. This one was very close. I kinda wish I had done that one, just the ice machines, putting those out there. Credit card terminals, some of y'all might have done processing. I did that. I actually used to sell that little machine right there. Moving truck. Me and Marcus were just texting. I think he was the one. We were thinking, "Oh, we'll just start a moving company." And all these things because I didn't wanna go into the box and I didn't wanna, um, just do what everybody else did. So being an Amazon seller, of course, you could do that now. And some of y'all right now, when we get down to it, we have some tiers as far as like where your resources are and how much income and savings and investment capital you have today. If you don't have very much, you might start with one of these things to start building that capital, but it won't be long term. And affiliate marketing, man, there's a lot of these things. Selling on eBay, buying and selling on Craigslist. Y'all let me know if you're watching live, which one of those did y'all try to do? And I wanna know if anybody had any success in doing the Craigslist flipping, because 'cause I've heard a lot of people try that. You go find a free couch and then you sell it for 20 bucks. Oh no, but sorry guys, you got to go back through that. Here we go. One more, and that's it. All right. So all of those things led me to say that I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to generate that extra income, how I was going to get outside of the box for long term for my career. How was I going to retire sooner than that whole 65, 70 years old living on the government? So that was going through my head. And then finally, in 2007, I had this opportunity. Uh, that was right after college, graduated college. All those other things were rolling around in my head. I had a pretty good job at a hotel, assistant manager, and I say pretty good job. They had a pretty good title, but just not a lot of pay. But I was able to buy a house in on Texas Street, the rental area, student rental area, and my thought was in 30 years, the students would pay off that debt, and I would have a investment. In after 30 years, I'd be close to retirement, and that would be some retirement income. So that was my mindset there. Now I know the error of my ways, but I didn't back then. I didn't have anybody to show me that, tell me that, any mentors, any groups like this, communities like this to help me see the error in my thought process because I didn't know that I could actually buy that house and make money today. And that's where I went wrong. But fortunately enough, I was very lucky to have a friend who got me connected with a mortgage loan officer. He was able to get me money back when I closed. I left the closing table with like 350 bucks from because of the down payment assistance, first time home buyer, some city credit, county credit, all this kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. But then that was Texas Street. Again, still trying to figure out what the future was going to be. Michelle and I, we ended up with another house, Kendall, and then another one on Texas Street where brought in a partner to do that full renovation, full gut job. And then another one on Maryland Street. All became rentals about 2015. We didn't really have a plan of what in the world they were doing. They really weren't making a whole bunch of money, and we were the ones doing the work, trying to lease them up, trying to keep the maintenance done and all that. So they weren't a really good business strategy. In 30 years, again, my thought was in 30 years the debt would be paid off, we'd be fine. Well, it was right about this time when Michelle was 8 months pregnant, and as you can see, she's in here painting with oil-based paint and trying to kills all the dirt and smell from that house that we bought that was rented out, with this sweet little window unit. I'm sure that was clearing that oil-based paint out of there. Uh, but it was right about this time where Michelle was like, well, we both were like, "This is not fun. This is no good. We're not gonna make money." And if y'all have been in this community for a while, you've seen some of the properties that we look at where there's been a flipper go through and they can't finish the job, or there's landlords that have for a couple of years, they can't make the payments, they can't, they're not making any cash flow from them, so they sell at a discount. Well, that's where we were. That that's literally the face of somebody that's ready to sell at a discount because here we are. We had at that time we had 2 other kids, and so there's 2 kids at home. This one, no, this lost Jane. That's 1 kid at home, 1 in the belly, 1 yet to come. That's right. So at this time, just 1 at home, and so but the idea was we were supposed to be able to spend time with those children, not spend time on flipping or renovating houses and dealing with tenants and termites and taxes and all that. So that was that conversation. And so about that time, a friend or an agent of ours gave us this book called Hold, and that's the very first real estate investment book, strategy, website. No, had no training on any of this stuff. We just started doing it, and bought or I think she gave it to us. So I read it. I devoured it. It was speaking to my soul, obviously filling up that void of knowledge that I'd been missing. And uh, that book showed us how to buy the house, rent the house, and actually make cash flow from it. So you're thinking of getting started, finding the books that are already written out there, the communities like this that have people that have done this, courses online. USC has the colleges have things like that. So finding someone that's already done it and trying to learn from that is the only way to go. If you try to write these rules yourself and build it as you go, you're wasting time, wasting energy, and probably losing money. Um, so at that point, we said, we got to, this is Emory, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure. I'm like, too many kids.
Okay.
Emory's on their way, which is 2016. Early 2016, we said, you know what? We can do these rentals. We don't have to sell them. They're not that bad. What we need to do is make this a business. We need to figure out how to make this a business and keep it and grow it. And Michelle's goal was to be able to pick up the kids from school in a couple of years. So that was 2015, 2016, and 2018. The goal was to be able to pick up rentals from school after school. So we did. We said we're going to flip houses and then we're going to buy more rentals. And if we can get to about 35 rentals, then Michelle can step away, and I'll tell you all the calculations for that in a sec. Anyway, this was the house. First house we bought it just to flip. The first one we bought has the goal of flipping. Flipped it. This is Emory in the hospital. This is the day that we signed the closing paper on that and signed to buy our first rental from Flip, which is a 5-unit property that I'll show later. So that was that day. Um, and some people are wondering what happened with that oil-based paint. And it's actually not him. Now that I was like, I didn't do the timelines right. But this is Emory. He's survived. He's got a lump on his head there. He's our wild child. And that was him in the beginning. So anyway, and now of course we do deals where we're building cash flow, building wealth every single day. We've got a nice, awesome team helping us do that. All right. So um, and now, of course, these are some of the events. We enjoy teaching this. Like the idea was when I was in hospitality, I was going to school to be a teacher. I was going to go back and be a professor at the college. I did end up getting a master's. Same time I got my master's was the same year that I quit hospitality to do real estate full time. So I just plugged this in and started teaching real estate. So that's how we ended up here. And through the last 6 years of showing people, teaching this, coaching it, we've learned a lot from other people starting, going, building businesses, selling houses, all that. So I try to pack as much of the getting started info into today's presentation. So I hope if y'all are watching live or if you see this recording later, just leave a comment, leave a message, and I'll try to get to you if there's something that I didn't make very clear or you had a question about. So just let me know. And if you're here, you can ask questions at any time. All right. So we've got small audience today. That's cool. So maybe Michelle's going to watch for any live comments. Y'all just let us know if you have any questions. All right. And so before we get started, going into this, I just have to tell everybody that you cannot invest in real estate unless you're rich, unless you have perfect credit, and you've got to be an expert. You got to know all the info. You're going to have to quit your job. Everyone's going to have to quit their job to do this. Just so you know, um, as soon as you start, as soon as you get into real estate, it's going to immediately be passive income, and it's going to be super easy from there. But you won't be able to find any good deals. They're impossible. So there's no good deals out there. And yeah, every time you get a big property, you get a big profit. That's going to happen too. And it's only for extroverts. It's only for salespeople, right, Michelle? This is real estate. It's only for those of you that are out there, extroverted salespeople. So Everyone else, you can just turn it off. You can leave. Does that sound right? No, I'm gonna bust that. I'm gonna bust all those myths. Literally, I used to have a different slide where I taught this, and we'd go around the room asking questions. I put this I put my old slide into ChatGPT, and it came back with the exact same stuff that we used to talk about before. Because these all came from when I asked people in the room. Last time I taught this last year at this time, I asked the question, "What have you heard about getting into real estate?" And these are the things that people in the room said. And then I went to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said the same thing. So clearly, these are the uh, beliefs that people have about real estate investing and what's keeping y'all maybe keeping you out of it. If you've heard one of these things, whether you consciously or thinking about it, or if it's unconscious, just like a belief that you have keeping you from taking the next step, I can tell you all of these are just wrong. It's just wrong. You don't have to be rich to get started in this. Matter of fact, talk about my mom a lot, or where we all got started. I remember when I was younger, she said, we used to run around and look at houses that were being built just for fun on Saturdays. I don't know if anybody else used to do that. And mind you, we might be the only ones. But so you can't do that anymore. Like people think you're stealing stuff, so I wouldn't suggest it. But I remember her saying, "Well, you have to have money to make money. It must be nice to be these people. They have money, so they can do this." And I remember that, and I don't know how long that kept me grounded or out of the business. Clearly not that long, but some of y'all might have heard those things that's keeping you from taking the next step. So don't let it hold you back. Really fast investor quiz. Um, yes, we're super fast because it's not even showing the questions. Is there risk involved in real estate? Is the question. Um, and what's the answer to that? Live studio audience, yes. Can you lose money? Can you lose money in real estate? Yes. Um, how do we manage the risk of losing money in real estate? Education. I already gave you the answer. Sorry, I cheated. But not only just education, and this goes back to kind of the teacher part of me, where we don't do a good enough job in schools, uh, primary school, middle, high school, whatever, and even through college. It's very, very theoretical information, not as much real financial education, how to take your finances and grow them, how to use your finances as a tool for your future and your current life for cash flow and that sort of thing, building wealth for your legacy. So there's not enough good information and financial education. So part of that is what we're doing here today, and I don't know why this is not working. So we're just going to. The answer again is financial education. All right. So I had this quote up a bunch. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate, and so that is actually a quote from Andrew Carnegie. If y'all know Andrew Carnegie, so 100 years ago, that probably made sense. Um, it was probably it might have statistically been accurate. Nobody today, they have not done study. There's no like survey on that. So um, I like the quote of 90% of statistics are made up, or 20% of statistics are made up. They're all made up. But when you see them on quotes like this, there's no survey for that. But the point is that real estate is one of the most common and accessible paths to wealth. And in Andrew Carnegie's day, a millionaire was a big deal. You look at it today, millionaires, it's still a lot of money. I don't want to hear that like it is a lot of money. But with things like crypto and online gaming, Twitch things, YouTube and stuff like that, a lot of people are getting to 1 million in other ways. But real estate is still I think, the most common accessible path for everybody and to do it safely and consistently. So you can get lucky on some things, but real estate's the way to go because we benefit from, I think I have it later, we benefit from the tax advantages, the depreciation, the cash flow, and we can use leverage. We can use someone else's money legally to build this wealth. You can't use leverage to do stocks and things like that. Okay. All right, here we go. The question we get, the question I hear a lot is, can we do real estate right now? Why should I get in now or should I wait? The market's too high. Market's too low. Market's just right. It's like it doesn't matter where the market is. Someone's going to say, "Well, should we do it now or should we wait?" My answer is always the best time to get in real estate was yesterday. The second best time is today. So just get in and get started. Just a few flips a year can replace your full income if that's the way you want to go. So we'll take a look at some of that right now. Yes, if old Warren Buffett, I got a couple of his quotes in here. Making money while you sleep. We're going to work till you die. You're going to be at Walmart, uh, greeting at the door. All right. So how much money do you need a month to cover your basics? So should be your. But I want y'all to think about this. Look at your budget. Think about what it is right now. If you're working a W-2, you got a W-2 paycheck. What is that coming in a month? And is there extra left over? Do you have extra going to savings or somewhere else? Or are you short every month? So what do you need right now to cover your basics? So basics, like how do you live right now? Not going on a trip to Italy. Okay, so your food, your water, your power bill, your mortgage, those types of things. Think about that. Write that down. All right. Then, all right. So here's one of the ones that's supposed to be deleted. So here we go. If you want in retirement, so we've done this poll before. And the basics, I can get away with $2,000 a month. Some people are like, no, I need 20,000 a month to get the basics. And then we go and say, well, what about retirement? Well, it seems it's kind of all over the board. If in retirement, it's like that $10,000 mark seems to be a nice average, easy number to work with. But when we start laying it out, most people are like, 10,000 is probably not enough for my retirement if I want to have fun. 10,000 is good to live, but if I want to take retirement to the max, I'm going to get 20,000 or 30,000. So I did this just out of 10,000 a month with a 3% annual return, assuming 3% because you want it to be stable and almost risk-free, like you want to be low risk in a retirement portfolio. So for 10,000, if you want to live on $10,000 a month, and you think you're going to be retired for say 30 years. So if you retired at 60 and you live till 90, you're going to need to have $2.4 million in the bank before you can retire. This is kind of scary looking at it when you put it on paper, right? Oh man. Say if you want to retire, so I'm 40 now, and I want to live 50 more years. Like I want to make it to 90. And remember, when you're 90, that 10,000 a month's not going for vacations, that's going for your assisted living. So, and it's going to cost that. So if I want to live for 50 years, I need 3.1 million in the bank before I can retire, before I can stop working. So that's using investment capital in the bank and paying it. Now, there's other ways to get 10,000 a month, and we'll talk about that in a second. It doesn't necessarily have to come from an investment account where you have to get all the cash. We could, and if y'all are in the chat, y'all can tell me what you think, but you could do other things like own assets that will pay you cash, that will pay you monthly, so you don't have to have all that cash. So we'll talk about that. If I wanted to live, so 30 years at 10,000 a month, again, this is, I think it's kind of slow. How many years is it going to take me to save up to that cash? If I can save $500 a month, which is $6,000 a year, it would take me 87 years to get there. So I'd be 87 years old if I started at zero to retire. So that doesn't work. Why did I put 500 a month, y'all? Because there's a poll that went out that said it was a lot. It was like 90%. Of course, I'm making that up. y'all Google it, but it was like 90% of Americans don't even have $1,000 in their retire or emergency fund. They can't save $500 a month because the money that they're earning goes out immediately. So there's no way to get to any kind of savings for retirement. But what if I was trying to get that 2.4, and I was able to save $5,000 a month? That would be $60,000 a year. It would still take me 27 years to get to that number. Now, 27 years is pretty good working. You'd be working for 27 years, putting 5,000 away a month to get to the 2.4. So looking at that, for me, when I look at those numbers, I say, you know what, I'm not going to get there this way. I got to find a better way. I got to find something that I can leverage, that can multiply this, that can bring extra cash flow and build assets that can pay me cash, and build the wealth. So we're going to write down how much we need to live that great life. And this is where we get to the 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 a month for all of our fun. So how much per year for your great life? And we're going to divide that by 25,000. And then that's how many houses you need to flip every year to make that number. About 25,000 profit per flip, give or take. Obviously, there's no guarantee on that. And let's talk about rentals. If you want to get 10,000 a month cash flow, that is the exact formula that Michelle and I had to do to retire from our day job. How many rentals? And I'll show you right now. How many rentals go away? So how much do you need per year? So take that per month goal, divide per month by 150. So it's $150 per door rental properties. That's your take home after paying utilities, taxes, insurance, the mortgage, property manager, all that. So 150. That's exactly the math that we had to do to figure out how many rental houses we needed to step out of the working world, if you will, the 9 to 5, and to go into real estate full time. That's how we got there. And so the math for us was, I think it was 35. And we were using $200 a door. This is, how many years ago is that? 9 years ago. Things were a little bit different. So now $150 a door in this market is a pretty good deal. So here we go. All right, so know what your baseline is. Know those numbers. What is it going to take you to retire? What is it going to take you to live on? What is the point of investing in real estate? If you don't need to, if you feel completely fulfilled by what you're doing now and you're comfortable, you're secure, you've got cash, you've got money that you need, like going and starting real estate investing doesn't make sense. There's no reason to go start this because it's hard. There's a lot of risk and it's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of stress that comes with it. We got, I don't know how many, 15 different contractors coming today because it's Friday for paychecks, right? There's a lot of work, a lot of stress that goes into real estate investing. So if you're fine right now and all those numbers back here, you're making that now, then don't worry about it. Y'all can turn off this, y'all can sign out, get off this live stream right now. There's no reason. But if your baseline is not being met, if you're not where you want to be, and you feel like real estate might be the way to go, then let's stick to it, all right? So Deal Finders, for us, Deal Finders is a state of mind. So it's not just a name, it is a name, and it's not just a thing we do, go find deals, but it is a state of mind where we open our ears, open our mouths, and our eyes, and we look for deals, we look for opportunity in real estate wherever we are. So if we're in our local community, we are always talking about it, telling people, listening for people that might say, "Oh, my neighbor's house is a wreck," blah blah blah. Um, Looking for them as we drive around. We're looking for deals. We're on Zillow. We're using Deal Finder data to find some deals, some foreclosures or something like that. We're always looking and talking about finding opportunity. And what is that opportunity? Typically, it's a discounted real estate piece of real estate. All right. Some of my pictures didn't show up, so it's okay. So let's talk about the and if there's any questions, you just let me know, honey. But the roles of capital in business. So why do I bring this up in the beginning? I think I told you at the beginning of this that I really want to make sure we got the big stuff up front, so that you can get the most out of this presentation, this training today. So capital is a broad term for anything that gives an owner of business value or an advantage. So you have intellectual capital, you have equipment capital. Like if you have a really fast production line for cars or whatever like that, that is capital. That means you have an advantage on someone else. We talk about it a lot with money. In our business, we call money, if it's for the business, it's capital. So it's investment capital that we can use to build the business. So when we talk about it, when investors are just getting started, you've got to know that your capital that goes into the business, that is used for the business, is there for the business. It's not just for your back pocket just to walk around with. So when you're using money to grow the business, it's capital that has a future goal. You can't get to those numbers earlier if you just take the capital all the time and just spend it. Okay, so using it to grow is what we call it capital. Okay, so trying to find that money is a big part of being a real estate investor. And so this is a really cool graph that comes from the SBA of how most people start their businesses. So the 64.4%, so 64% of people started their business with loans from friends and family, or just investments from friends and family. Just gave you cash or loans or stock or whatever. And then bank loans was 16. I thought that was interesting. I thought this would have been the other way around. And then you got credit cards, which is some people would say, no way, don't do that. But that's how 10% of people start their business. So when you're thinking about getting into this business of real estate investing, you will need capital. You're going to need capital. I know there's a lot of people online that talk about, oh, you can do this business with no money. You don't need money. No, you don't need it. But man, it makes things a whole lot easier. You can bootstrap this with a couple $100 and go on that first deal, really hustle. But it makes it easier and faster when you have some capital. So keep your eyes open and start looking for some capital for your business if you haven't found it yet. Set aside some money to invest in the business, invest in yourself so that it can grow faster and you can get to your goals much sooner. I look back at that slow-mo timeline. Michelle and I, we had 4 houses in a matter of, 8 years. And then when we decided we wanted to do the business, we went from 4 to 34 in the next 2 years. So it was 4 houses in 8 years and 30 houses in 2 years. That's the difference between having a plan, getting some capital into the business, and working with some mentors to help us along the way. All right, so what's the role of capital? Again, it's a tool. It's used to grow the business, used to grow your wealth, used to set you up for your legacy in the future. Helps you grab opportunities when they come so you don't lose them. And again, some of these are supposed to be hidden. I don't know why this is not hiding all these, but we're going to go through it anyway. Let's just go speedy through. I wanted to make sure we get to the good stuff for y'all. All right, capital is like water for business. It will help you grow. It comes much faster. Accelerating growth with capital is the way to get out of the game a little bit faster. Okay, you don't have to put a whole bunch of money in, but it is a lot faster, and so that you can, like I said, Michelle and I, we were those distressed owners. We were very close to selling discount properties to other investors because it took us so long to get those 4 units. We weren't really making money with it. We didn't have the capital behind us to do it the right way. So we almost were out. But if you have the capital behind you, it'll help you stay in. All right, here we go. 3 types of capital you need. You've got to have the startup capital, which you get off the ground, of course. If you don't have any, you're sitting at zero, as we talked about. If you have less than 5 grand that you're ready to put into the business, then you need to be looking at start wholesaling or being a deal finder, or look at some credit cards. If you got decent credit, look at credit cards, or look at friends and family, some people to help you get started, get launched. Okay, operating capital. Uh, that's for the business running. So if you're going to lease an office space, if you got to pay for marketing, you've got to get a lawyer to draw some documents up. You got to have some operating capital. If you don't have it, you can look at. You don't want to do credit cards long term operating capital. You want to be able to pay that back, but you can use them for that. Look at rental houses. Look at some lease options. Some potentially some options to buy properties. You can lease them out and get some monthly income that can pay for your monthly expenses, right? Excuse me. And then the growth capital, that's when it's time to put the foot on the gas pedal. And we do some rehabs, we get some partners, we start selling some big properties, getting lump sum cash that we can then make big investments into growth. So those are the three. Find out where you are. So a lot of today will take some time. I want y'all to be writing down where you are, where you want to be. So this is one of those things. Like, so where are you now? Do you have startup capital? Are you ready to get started? Are you past the startup phase and you need some extra operating capital? So where are you now? Write that down. Put that down with those numbers from earlier, because ultimately today is about really getting started for yourself, where you are in your business. All right. Okay, so how we make money is a bunch of different ways, and this is going to jump into how you can make money. Obviously, again, I told you we're sharing some of our experience, so that hopefully it helped you. Uh, multiple investment strategies is how we work. Okay, we're looking for cash now, so monthly cash now, big paychecks now, small paychecks now. We're looking at different angles on different properties. So how can we make the most out of each property? We can do we can sell on owner finance where we give a fee, a down payment today, and then we sell monthly. So that's cash now and cash for long. We could just sell property, and that's cash now, but no more later. We can rent property. That's cash for a long time, right? So those are the different ways that we look at our business and we evaluate each property. And so I just had a conversation with a friend and peer. He's local, and he said the thing that has hurt. We have this wholesale law. If anybody's listening, that's not in South Carolina. It's the wholesale law has kind of put a damper on the traditional wholesale method. Well, he's been doing this a long time, and he was wholesaling a bunch, and he just pivoted to doing flips. Not a big deal. He's got the business and the capital to do it. But what hurt, or what he recognized, is that going from wholesaling, which is quick income, we get paid in about 30 days of doing the work. That keeps the income coming at a pretty consistent pace. Instead of the wholesale, you go to flip, you now turn your cash conversion, so like when you get paid, you turn it from being 30 days to like 6 months. And so that window where he made the switch, he was getting paid every 30 days, paid. Well, now everything I buy is gonna take 6 months to get paid. So that's a gap of 6 months where it was no monthly income, right? So that can be a problem. That can really hurt the business. So when you're setting up your business, I'm telling y'all these so that you can think about your needs. If you have a W-2 job that you don't plan on leaving, then your monthly income from real estate doesn't have to be so consistent. You can go 6 months without a paycheck because you have your W-2 that provides for you. If your W-2 doesn't provide for you, then you need to be thinking, well, how do I get consistent monthly income? So I hope that makes sense to y'all, that you to be thinking like a business, not just personally, but the whole business, your whole ecosystem there. And so when you think about that, you might be planning and budgeting. So, all right, well, March, I'm leaving my job. In March, I need consistent capital or consistent revenue. That's exactly what happened with Michelle and I when we were going to go. Uh, Turned out we both quit our jobs in 2018 because I started wholesaling. We started that business. The monthly income from our rentals was going to pay Michelle's salary. That was her income. And then I left because I said I had done a few wholesale deals or had figured it out. I said I can make that be my monthly income. And so that's what we did. And of course, we kept flipping and we kept buying more rentals in Burr. So we made our monthly income be the rental income from the 34 units. And then my job was to go out there and wholesale and make um, revenue that way. So be thinking about that. What are the needs that you have? So y'all write that down on your sheet of paper of what are your needs. Uh, uh, I don't know what I was missing the whole thing. All right, it'll come back. All right, here we go. So this is where we've got the 4 pillars of getting started in real estate investing. So I want to jump to here because, like I said, I wanted to bring the most value and the most info that I can bring to you today up front. And then if we have time, we'll jump on these. I think I'll probably zoom through them depending on my PowerPoint. Now that I'm seeing it's not catching and not hiding things, I might have to pause and come back. But the investment strategies, I want to start there because for getting started, figuring out where your path is, this is where we need to start, is what makes sense for where you are. So we have the 4 main tiers, quick cash, like I was just talking about, creative strategies, which can be quick cash and long cash or whatever, you get to create it the way you like it, fix and flip strategies, and then long-term wealth. Okay, so we're gonna jump into those. Um, we kind of put it up, I put it in kind of a nice little graph here, but the thought is, and we'll get to this in a minute, is wholesaling is like a lot of work. So there's a lot of time in this, but you don't need as much capital to get started. Long-term wealth, you need more capital to get started here, but it's less time and energy needed. Creative finance, usually you need some, um, you're going to need more capital for it, and also more time. Anyway, that's kind of what this is supposed to be. We have it a little bit better done a little later. So multiple cash flow strategies. As a tier 1 investor, when you're looking at tier 1 is basically no money needed. This is where you hear that all the time online. You don't need money, no cash, nothing. You don't need anything. And you've heard me say, yes, technically you don't need it. You can just walk around and ask people if they want to sell their house at a discount. You can do that. Some capital makes it a little bit easier, makes it a little bit faster. What you're looking for would be somewhere in like a $7,000 to $15,000 range for your fee, for a wholesale fee or a deal finder fee if you're in South Carolina, where you would partner with somebody and get the deal done. And as a partner, you would get paid somewhere in this realm. That's obviously not a guarantee. That's obviously you would change that, make that work for whatever is good for your business. So there's other types of wholesaling, but the biggest thing, the traditional way that people know it is you buy or you go and you get a house under contract at a discount. You then find another buyer, an end buyer, someone else that's willing to pay more for that property than you are. And you sell them the rights to buy the property. Now, if you were going to buy it at 100 and they're willing to pay 110, you get to keep that 10. You get to keep the middle. So that's traditional wholesaling. And today, we like things like doing installment sales. An installment method is a fantastic way to own property. quickly and efficiently. You don't have to put a whole lot of money down, but you, in an installment sale, you can own it, and then you can sell it on MLS or sell it to anybody you want. We also like partnering with people. So if you're in, want to do wholesaling, if you're in this tier and you can't get to a whole lot of capital, find a good partner that can help you do these deals. Okay. Um, it is the way to create cash now. So that is the quick cash. The quickest cash conversion would be something like wholesaling. So this is a house. This is what it looked like when we found it. And then when we flipped it, technically it's a flip. We didn't do anything. We just sold it. This is the quick cash, the quick flip. This is the wholesaling. This is that method. You're not going in and not even, we didn't even cut the grass, even though it doesn't need it. We didn't do anything to it. And this is just, I mean, guys, you're just one deal away. If you can find these as a deal finder, we paid 140, we paid 41 and sold it for 82. You guys can look it up online. Now I can't remember Sage. I can't remember the address. Anyway, I'll shoot you. If you want to look it up online, you check it on Zillow. This is exactly what we did. And, guys, these deals are out there. These deals are in your community where someone is in need and wants to sell it now. This house needed work. I, as an investor, would not have paid $82,000 for it. But that investor, I think they had other ones in the neighborhood and they really liked this house. They knew something I didn't know. I would have never paid 82 for it. That's the whole point of the quick cash, quick flip, wholesaling, deal finder methods, is you're finding someone that's willing to sell. You buy it at a price where you think someone else might pay more, whatever it is, whatever reason is. And then you try to find that person that will pay more. That's why you get paid. That's the value you bring to the marketplace. Okay. So quick cash strategy. All right. Tier 2 investor, it's going to take a little bit longer. You're going to be getting your, this is your creative financing methods, installment methods, one of those. Subject to is another one, where you're going to maybe lease options as well. These are ways where you can make money up front throughout a long period of time and even at the end of a 10, 15, 20-year cycle. So as a tier 2 investor, you don't necessarily, the reason this is here is you don't necessarily need a bunch of money to do this. Like I said, installment payments are subject to, you can get into those and control those properties with very little out of pocket. You may, depending on what the seller situation, we have people that are like, just take it. We don't want it, just take it. It's costing them more by them having it. That's typically like a subject to. If they're upside down, we would take them over. Now, so as a tier 2 investor, if you're thinking about, well, is this for me? Is this who I am? It takes a lot of, it takes more work to get those sellers to work with you, to convince them that you're going to pay the bills, right? So having a little bit of experience in this makes this a little easier. Having some connections makes it a little bit easier. Having some capital behind you makes it easier to make payments if you need to. So, in those, you're not normally going to get the big, quick payday from these. Sometimes you can. Typically, if there's a big payday, you wouldn't go use creative strategies. So these are the long-term, smaller profits spread out over time. Okay. So this is one. So nobody wanted this deal, and I'll tell you why. Because, oh no, all my numbers are not there. I could tell you I could tell you what happened with this. I'm gonna have to, y'all, if you're watching this recording, I'll upload the PowerPoint with everything that's there. But anyway, this was 30 years of monthly cash flow because the seller owed like 81,000 on it. The property was only worth 80 in its best day, and that was if the seller had moved, when the seller moved out. She came to us, she was like, I can't pay this. They got a mortgage forbearance. it was coming back due. She would have to start making payments again. She said, I just can't do it. She was on fixed income. She said, I'm leaving the home. I'm moving in with my daughter, and the keys in the laundry room on the back of the house. Basically, she's like, I'm out. So we said, okay. She had a low monthly payment of like $630. So we said, well, we can take this and just make those payments, and we can rent it out, and we would be fine. We would make some cash flow. But instead, we decided to sell it. So we've sold it to someone who's making payments to us. So this person, this house, the person brought a down payment of like $5,000 or $6,000 to us. They pay about rent there would have been like 900. The buyer's only paying us like $850 a month. So this buyer is getting a great deal. They would have never been able to buy a house without us doing this. And so now we make, I guess it was $170 a month on cash flow. Yeah. And there's no banks needed. We just were able to help this seller, help this buyer, and make the connection. And again, we didn't make a whole bunch of money up front, but we're going to be able to make it long term. So this is a long-term play with creative strategies. All right, tier 3, bigger paydays. This is for rehabbing houses. We're doing the big fix and flips. We're going to get the big cash payments when we do rehabs. And so if you're thinking about this as where you are today and you want to be a rehabber, think about, do you have the resources to do these? Do you have the experience to do these? Do you have the time to do this and deal with contractors? I can tell you, when we started flipping houses back in 2015, 2016, I had a full-time job and we had some kids, and Michelle knows that. I mean, I was on the way to work, I would swing by the house or Lowe's. At lunchtime, I was at the house or at Lowe's getting materials, and then after work, I was usually stopping by the project or going to Lowe's. And so it was a lot of work to make this happen, but it was worth it. We had a plan to figure that out. And so we were looking for the big cash paydays so that we could reinvest into rental houses. So that's what tier 3 looks like. And if you think that that's where you want to be, then you're somebody that has a little bit of time, at least a little bit of time to deal with it, and access to capital. Okay, you gotta have access to capital to get that done, and then some experience. I had some experience in renovating and construction of hotels, so I've been around the project management side of it. My dad was a kind of DIY dad. We did a lot of fix up stuff ourselves, so that's where the experience came from. You don't need everything, but at this time we also had a mentor. We'd hired a mentor to help us flip houses profitably. That was the big thing, is I didn't want to learn through trial and error. I wanted someone to show me, like, this is how you profitably flip houses. These are the steps you take. Some of our partners know that if you just jump in to flips, you can lose really quick. Speaking of our partners, these are some of the partner houses that we've done. It's not even, there's a bunch more, but these are all flips. I just grabbed, these are actually, most of these are before pictures, a couple of after pictures, but these are the before pictures. You can't even see them, but they're flips where we were looking for a big cash payday. We partner with our deal partners. We coach them through finding the house, funding the house, and then flipping the house. And so this is what you're able to do when you do that. And so each one of these was a flip. I think they're all sold. Yeah. Well, no, this one's still for sale. All the rest of these are a little bit older. All right. So that's your fix and flip, your rehabber. You can kind of throw in the BRRRR into that mix as well. Tier 4 investor. This is where y'all, like, everybody wants to kind of get to. Usually they say, "Oh, I want to be an investor. I want to hold rental houses." It goes on beyond just holding rental houses as a tier 4 investor, and we'll talk a little bit about what it means to be a lender, what it means to be a pretty truly passive investor, where your money is working for you. You're not actually going out. You don't own the real estate. You're lending it to someone else, and you're making your returns there. What does it look like to be a limited partner in a deal, right? What does it look like to put your money in, let somebody else run it, and then you get tax advantages, you get depreciation, you get the appreciation all through more passive investments. So tier four kind of gets with the long-term wealth holding rentals, but if tier four was a little bit longer, the sheet here, you would get down into being a lender and limited partners. And anybody that has questions about that, let me know. So define your monthly cash flow needs. This is super important. That's why we did it earlier. There's no reason to go buy a rental house if you don't know why you're doing it. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I want to invest in real estate. I want to have a rental," and then they come sell to us 2 or 3 years later because they didn't know why they wanted that rental. They weren't making any cash flow because they didn't run the numbers. They just had a house that had a tenant that they were still paying for. And so, if you don't go into it with eyes wide open and run your numbers, you're going to end up being one of those discount sellers. It's like, I don't know why I have this house. Please take it. Um, all right, and I bet this isn't going to work also. This was a Rosewood Burhurst. This is the 5 unit that we bought while Emery was in the hospital. We went on a contract for it. Purchased at 135, fixed it up. It really wasn't that bad. It was just really dirty and bad tenants. So we changed the tenants out, cleaned it up. We were able to burr our cash out, which is when you're getting started. And again, we had a coach kind of help us through this. When you're getting started, if you don't have a whole bunch of capital behind you, it's really important to make sure you get your capital out when you do rental houses. So we were able to burr, which means we refinanced and got the money that we put down. Our down payment would have been 20%, so 25 grand, I guess, that we put down, and we were able to get that back out. Actually, it was about 30 grand. That's right. Which means cash on cash returns infinite. You just keep going. Just keep repeating that process. Any questions? Good. Am I covering it good? My mouth is dry. That pasta burned my tongue. All right. How do I start? This is the question that at our meetups, online, our coffee and cash flow meetings, we get this question all the time because if you're here, if you're watching this, listening to this, if you're in the room, in the community, you probably know that there's something here. There's something in real estate that's for you because there's so many different paths. There is something, but you don't know where you should start. You don't know what your steps are, and so that's what this is all about, and that's why we're here. Again, I told you we had coaches and mentors, but the first thing you have to figure out is what direction are you going? I go back to when we hired a coach to help us flip properties profitably. If I wasn't able to identify that, there would have been no reason to find a coach or a mentor. I would not have known what I was looking to learn. And so when we decided, Michelle and I decided we wanted more rentals and we wanted to be able to flip houses to get there, we said, all right, we need to find somebody that can help us do this quickly, blow through all the errors and jump over all those hurdles and learn from somebody that's been down the road. So that was what we did. Same thing when we were about to quit our day job and live off of that rental income. We went to someone else and said, "Hey, our direction right now is to live off of rental income cash flow." All right, so we were able to help to identify that, define it, and then go. And so from there, once we knew where we were headed, we got training and learned and got books and education and some courses. And of course, the coach gave us some of that stuff, and he was able to support us. Okay, so mentoring doesn't have to be an active coach. It doesn't have to be somebody that's like you're hanging out with, meeting every week, whatever. Being in this community is mentoring because it's helping you, it's guiding you to find what your direction is. It's guiding you towards the training that you need and helping you define your goals and hopefully getting you to success. Okay, so being a part of a community is a piece of the mentoring. So there's people in there that you can learn from. At some point, you may need like that person, that coach, that person that's going to support you and help you pull you along the way. But using this community and these resources as your opportunity to find your way is probably the best thing for a lot of people just getting started. And so this is it. We have, like I said, there's so many different paths. You probably are watching this, listening to this, wondering, well, I know I want to be in real estate. This is a beginner class. This is 101. I know I want to be in, but I don't know where I want to be in. I don't know where I fit in. I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know how to be a passive partner or do landlording. Like, there's a lot of things that you don't know. And I'm going to tell you now that I'm not here to teach you all of that. I can't teach all that today. You won't be able to absorb all of that. That would take decades to learn every piece of everything that's in here. So ultimately, what today's goal is to help you identify your path, where you should be looking, what your direction is, so that you can get training along that direction and build and grow from there. So specialized education, of course. So agent, wholesaling, fix and flip, whatever. Let's see if you can't identify where you are. All right. So which way are you going to go? Which way should you go? So get out that paper that you wrote down your goals on your basic needs and then your great life numbers, and let's take an inventory. All right. So how much time do you have right now? So what do I mean by that? So how much time per week could you give to real estate investing as a business? And y'all put it in the chat. You can put it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've got. How much time can you give to real estate investing as a business? Okay, write that down per week. And that means Saturdays, Sundays. It means, heard somebody say the other day, you've got your 9 to 5 job. Well, this is your 5 to 9 job. So 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right, so how much time can you give to real estate investing? How much experience do you have? If you've never stepped foot into a construction site, well, rehabbing houses by yourself may not be a good idea. Okay, just throwing it out there. So write down what relevant experience to real estate as a business do you have? Now, are you a business manager? Do you work for a company and you manage people? That's great. Put that down. All right. How much energy and drive do you have? I have to, like I said, I'm 40 now. I think my energy and drive is not what it used to be, right? At 25, I could go all night. I'd be up at 2 o'clock in the morning doing, trying to find deals, and then wake up at 6 to get the kids out to daycare and off to work. I don't have that anymore. I don't have that kind of energy. So just because you have the time doesn't mean you've got the energy and the drive to do it. So kind of rate yourself there. Like, are you excited about investing in real estate? Is real estate investing something that's going to get you out of the bed in the morning to go do it? Give yourself, a rating of 1 to 10. How excited are you about it? How driven are you to get to do this business? And then how much money do you have? I probably should have put capital there. And what do I mean by that? It doesn't have to be cash in the bank. It doesn't have to be cash. It can be investment money that's in a stock account. It could be credit cards that you could use at 0% interest or something like that. It could be a IRA, self-directed IRA, or something you can borrow against, a 401k you can borrow against. Capital that you can use in your business as an investment. When you put it in the business, you shouldn't be just spending it and it going away. It should be an investment either in yourself, in your education, or in the business where it will bring a return. Okay, so how much money, how much capital can you put to the business? All right. Now let's make some goals. Let's make some goals with that. How much time do you want? So if you've got 5 hours, but you like to have 40 hours a week, spend with kids, family, friends, whatever, write that down. How much experience do you want? What do I mean by that? I mean, do you want the experience of flipping a house? You may not. Do you want the experience of dealing with tenants and being a manager or being a landlord? You may not. It's not all it's cracked up to be, trust me. Um, how much or how much experience, like, do you want to be a wholesaler? Do you want to be told, now in wholesaling, you're going to get told no probably 30 times before you get a deal. Like 30 offers that you're making, your first one. It's going to be tough. You're going to talk to probably 300 people before you get one. So, um, do you want that experience? Some people don't want that experience. All right, how much energy and drive do you want? Do you want to be driven by real estate and investing in this business? Or would you rather not have to be putting energy towards this? Okay. And then, of course, how much money do you want? How much money do you actually want out of the business every year, every month, the next 10 years? What does that look like? All right. Let's write these goals down because these goals are going to help you decide which way you go. Um, one well, I'll just put that on there. So we can talk, like, I'd love to talk to you all about this and try to help you find those next steps. So you can screenshot that or scan that, go to chatwithandrewlucas.com/15, and we could talk through those goals and kind of where you are, taking that inventory. If we can go through that inventory and your goals, I can probably give you, share some ideas of which way you should be going. Um, One thing I'll say with the clients that we work with, like their deal partners and stuff, what we've found is we've found kind of the levels of where you want to be as far as investment capital. So if I go back and how much money do you have? If you're 5,000 or less right here, then you're really looking to be that wholesaler, that deal finder, that go-getter. They used to call them bird dogs that are just out there trying to find leads that you can pass to a partner, that you can help them close some deals and get paid for that. You can less than $5,000. Again, we talked about it earlier. You're looking to maybe do those Craigslist deals, right? Trying to find some way to get up and out and around the $10,000 investment capital. This is money that you can use in your business. If you can get around that 10, what we see is that 10 to 50, 10 to 50,000, again, doesn't have to be cash, it's access to, so credit cards, lines of credit, whatever. That 10 to 50 range is the wholesaler. You are the hustler, you're going out, you're finding good deals, and you're going to partner with somebody to get it closed and get some sort of fee or partnership agreement, some marketing, whatever that is, you're going to pay per deal, and you're going to get the quick cash. That's where you want to be. If you're 10 to 50,000. Once you get that 50,000, that's investment capital that you can use in the business. That's where we generally say that our partners are best suited to be a deal partner with us, where you flip your first house or buy your first BRRRR. So that's where you want, kind of like that goal to get started. Why do we say 50,000? Because it allows you to do the deal and keep moving. We borrow funds, we use lenders to get the deal, but if you don't have enough capital sitting behind you, you end up like the ones we talk about all the time. They're on Zillow as a half flipped house. They ran out of funds. You can go in, if you go in prematurely, you don't have a coach and a guide and enough capital, you end up not being able to finish the deal. And that is a terrible place to be. Or you get it foreclosed on, and nobody wants to see that. Okay. So when you get to that 50K number, now you're getting into that tier 3 investor where you're buying it, rehabbing it, burring it, whatever that is. When we start going above that, we get to like the 150. Now we're looking at, let's see if we can hold some rentals. We're going to need to get some depreciation on our tax return. We need to get some taxes lowered. So you're looking at rental houses, holding some rentals. You're looking at limited partnerships. You're looking at possibly getting into lending. When you get to 250K and above, yes, you want to be looking at how can I lend? How can I be a lender on this? Now you might do your flips. You're a cash buyer. You don't borrow anymore for your flips, right? So that's kind of the same thing if you want to keep flipping. But when you get to that 250K number, you're at the spot where you can start going way more passive. So those are kind of the levels. Put yourself in one of those buckets. Where are you? Let us know. Let me know. You can come get on my calendar. I'd love to talk to you about it. You can email me as well, or find me on Facebook. Just send me a message on Facebook. All right. So we're going to jump down into the 4 pillars, the foundation, marketing, and the contracts to close. But I'm going to take like a 1-minute break to fill up my water. We good? Okay. We just make that in there. All right. I'll be right back.
Doodle for like some friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Those are sweet dogs too.
Yeah.
Bring the doodles.
Mm-hmm. All right. You ready?
Go.
Let's see. Antoinette texted me. She said she was watching live. Hey, Antoinette. Let's see here.
Julian's here. Bishop's here.
Hey, Bishop, Julian, good to see y'all. Well, good to be seen by y'all. And let's see. I think that's it. All right. All right, we're going to jump back in. What time is it? We got just a little bit left. Probably about 20 minutes. And then we'll, again, open it up for questions or comments or whatever. All right, so getting started. We've kind of gone through a lot of the where are you and where you want to be. So all of those questions, you have to have that conversation with yourself and your family and your spouse or partner, business partners or kids, whatever. Have those conversations so that you can go in your direction and find your path. Okay, when you have that conversation, you decide what your path is. Try not to get distracted. Again, you can go back to my last video on the 5 Ds of real estate investing. Distraction is a real problem. So if you can find your path and stay away from distraction, you'll be better off. So let's talk about a couple of things to help you build this foundation and start going down that path. Okay. We actually do a longer full day workshop on finding deals, fixing and flipping. That will be in April. So we dive into a little bit more about this part of it, the contractors, the subcontractors, all that. We dive into there in that workshop. So anyway, people that you want to have on your team, guys, just take notes of these. You always want to have, you definitely want an attorney, a CPA, insurance agent. You want to have, you don't have to have an appraiser that's like your best friend, but you want to try to get a referral for an appraiser if you are not sure about how to comp and you're really very, very new and you can comp. I have a video on how to comp on YouTube as well. You can pretty much figure it out, but if you are not good with math, an appraiser is a couple $100. You can hire them to do it before you go and go with them. Like ask them questions, see what they're looking at. And when you get their report, that's the only reason I'm saying this, is if you get your first an appraisal like report, go through it, read it, understand what the numbers mean or what are they actually doing, then you'll be able to comp properties pretty easy. Always get an inspection. I'll talk about that later. Get an inspection before you buy anything. Funding your deal. This is an important part, of course. this thing. I'm going to have to give you all the slides later, but let's see if this works. So we have the different types of funding. We've got down here, we see these private lenders. We've got asset-based lenders. We've got the hard money lenders. You've also got credit cards you can use. I'm going to just pull this up. You've got personal loans. So our first deal we got through Michelle and I, we did a personal loan through USAA and then borrowed against her 401k. So you can do that. You can put different pieces together to get your funding for your deal. What you want to do is, again, taking your understanding where you are today and understanding how you can get funding. What would you qualify for? So on your piece of paper, talked about how much money do you have. I didn't ask, what's your credit score? All right, write that down. Is it awful? So 650 and above, we can pretty much get deals funded for our partners. 630, 620, 630, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. Now, if we go to one of our asset-based lenders that they only look at the property, they might run your credit, but they're not really deciding if they're going to fund you on your credit. But they might charge you more interest, higher interest rate because you have bad credit. So get that credit done right. Get it up. We're not getting into that, but basically, look at your credit, try to make it better. So you have traditional lenders, or it's like just a bank. You on the side, bank, regional bank, someone that's here, someone that you might have done your home mortgage through. You could go to them for investment deals. Some of them will say absolutely not. Some banks, traditional banks, won't do any investment real estate. They just stay away from it. Some of them will. Some of them will do a lot of it. So you don't know until you ask. So you have to ask. But that is an option. And then you've got transactional lenders. Let's see if this one works. Hey. Nope. So you got transactional lenders that will only lend for like a couple of days. So they're just going to get you the deal through a few days, maybe a week. 2 weeks would be really long for a transactional lender. And they're not there for you to do a deal to like flip it. They're there to help you complete a wholesale deal, a quick flip, something that you've already kind of assigned or sold, or have a partner that's working to get their closing, their funding. So those are transactional lenders, and they can get good deals done. Owner financing is not here; it's missing. But you can do owner financing. You can do bridge lenders. Bridge lenders help you get to like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day gap. They're really good again for something that's a quick turn. Line of credit. You can get a line of credit or a HELOC, home equity line of credit, to do some deals. And then partnership funding. Using a partner, finding someone that can bring the funds and help do the deal together. Those are different types of funding. Let's see. Try to follow along with this. Now let's jump into marketing, because we do, getting to the sellers, getting to a discount deal is probably one of the highest value skills in this business, but it's also like one of the easiest things to do. What do I mean by that? Well, a high value skill of actually getting that seller, that deal through to a closing, and negotiating how do you talk to sellers, but finding the sellers and finding properties that are in foreclosure or distressed really is not that hard. Literally, we have a whole thing called driving for dollars. You just drive around looking for them. Anybody and everybody can find a discounted, distressed deal. The hard part is converting that into a sale or something you can buy. Okay, so that's what I mean by one of the best skills. So we have this lead intake system where basically you want to be able to find your market. So find your zip code, find the area, the place, your farm is what we call it. Where are you going to market? Where are you going to put your advertising? Marketing, by what I mean by that, it's um, letting people know you exist. So we have TV commercials here, and one of the big things is people see us, they're like, "What is it that you do again? Why are you on TV? Like, what?" And what I tell them, and what we've learned really, is that sellers don't know that they have an option. Sellers don't know that they have another option besides calling an agent and putting their house out there. So that's what you're doing when you're marketing, is you're just letting them know that you're there. So you're marketing, how are you gonna do it? Different streams, how are you gonna talk to people, okay? And then, of course, converting, closing, and follow-up. So, so in marketing, you'll need to get clear on your marketing approach. What are you gonna do that's different? What are you gonna focus on, okay? So here's the big piece. Oh no, the big piece is not showing up. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. We're on this board here. Um, I might just plug this in. No, that's the wrong cord. This is annoying. All right. Anyway, so we have two types of marketing. We have paid and we have free. Paid and free. Let me see if I can write. Yeah, that's not gonna work. All right. Your paid marketing is obviously something you pay for, and then free is something that's out there for everybody. Um, there are two types of lead sources. So two types of places to find the leads, find the people that you're going to market to. And that would be private and public. So if y'all are watching this, you're going to have to take the notes because my screen is messed up. All right. So um, you got your private and your public. Now, the best leads are going to come from private leads. Why is that? Well, it's because no one else knows about it. If it's private, it's you or just a few people. Really, the awesome thing, or the best way to go, is to find some private leads that are also free, because they're free. So start with the private leads. Start with the free leads. So anywhere you can get free leads, start there. And there's a couple reasons for this. If it's a free lead, it's good practice. You didn't have to pay for it. If it's a free lead, it's all the people might also be nicer to you and easier to talk to and help you get through any fear you might have, or help you hone in your script to how you're going to talk to people about buying houses. So if you start with the free, you get a lot more practice. And so where are some free leads? Um, let's look at, all right, so we have a lot of lead types here. The free ones that I want you to focus on, if you're just getting started, you're taking this today, write this down. Online for sale by owner. Zillow has for sale by owners, Craigslist has for sale by owners, Facebook has for sale by owners, and FSBO.com has for sale by owners. All of those people have put their property out there and their phone number out there, and they said, please call me to talk about buying my house. It doesn't get much easier than that to practice and possibly find a deal. You might find a deal. I'm not saying you won't. Don't like call them, and you should try to get the deal. But if nothing else, you get a lot of good practice and you get a potential. Okay. The other way, for free leads, again, driving for dollars, you can drive around. Then it's gonna be a little bit more difficult because those people aren't expecting you to call, and they're not expecting you to leave a note or send them mail. Okay, so that's why the for sale by owners is where you should start today if you haven't done it. Or even if you're doing deals and talking to people, go call all the for sale by owners. All right. Um, wholesalers, if there's wholesalers, if you're getting email, you see their signs on the side of the road, you see them in Facebook groups, you need to be on their list, because wholesalers are going to come to you with the deal, hopefully that they've already negotiated. And maybe it's not great, but they've already found a seller that's willing to sell at a discount, so you can try to work with them a little bit more. Okay. The next place would be direct mail. When you're ready to start spending money. Okay, you're ready to start spending money, go ahead and start sending out the direct mail. All right, so those are your lead resources. All right. When you get that lead, let's talk about how do you evaluate the property. You're going to ask these three or answer these three questions so that you know that it's a potential. Will it sell at retail? Can I take it and put it on MLS right now? Will it sell as wholesale? Meaning, can I take it and sell it off market to other investors? Is there someone else out there, an investor that I can sell to where they still get a good deal and I could make something? Or will it cash flow if I have to rent it out? So if I can't sell it, I have to rent it out, will it cash flow? Okay. You like to have at least two of those, like at least two exit strategies available before going into a deal. And I never want to have a deal that's just like, oh, if we can't flip it, we're in trouble. We want to have something. So even if it's short-term rental, right? A lot of flips won't make a lot of the flips we do, they're a little bit too expensive, too high end to make good regular rental. But if I had to hold it, could I Airbnb it? That's usually my test. Or if I'm flipping it, can I slash the price low enough to get out of it and not lose money? Okay. So that meaning like selling it to another investor where they would still be happy with it. So that's wholesale. Let's see. All right, so let's run these numbers. Hopefully these all come up. Most of them did. All right, so I'll run through them with you real quick. After repair value, we call that ARV. So after repair value is the purchase cost. There might be points and then title fees. So you've got to take that, minus your carrying cost, minus your rehab cost, minus your inspection fee, take out the profit you want to make, take out the realtor commissions. If you want to put in a little buffer, usually my buffer 10% is on the rehab costs. But you can put a little buffer for market fluctuations if you want to. We're in a real stable market here, like we don't have a whole bunch of ups and downs. But this is where that would come in. And then that's your max offer. Pretty simple as far as math is concerned, like as you're going down the line. The hard part is for most people is being like finding what the rehab cost is and then being confident in that. So without experience, without a partner, without contractor quotes and things like that, it's really hard to actually get that and then be confident in it. This other stuff, most people are pretty good at, right? You can kind of figure that out. Common things to look for: roofs. Roofs are expensive. Roofs are easy to spot, and if you're going to flip the house, they will get called out on that inspection every time. If you're going to hold on to it as a rental, you don't want it leaking. So, does the roof? When we walk into a house, or usually I get pictures of houses we're going to buy. Usually I can look at the roof and the floors, and pretty much can tell what we're going in. Okay, and then how much sheetrock damage is in the house, right? We could tell how bad the last owner or occupant treated the house. Does the outside need painting? It sneaks up on you how expensive that can be, so just be ready for it. Lighting, of course, usually every house we upgrade lighting and plumbing fixtures. Landscaping, it's fun to do deals in the winter because you don't have to do too much landscaping. Windows, kitchen, HVAC, all of these things are high-end expensive or high dollar expenses that can sneak up on you when you're doing flips or rental rehabs. All right, if the HVAC goes out, you got to fix it. You got to replace it. If you're going to sell the house, you can't give them an old 1980s kitchen. You got to redo it. Okay. So those are the things you got to look for. You got to be ready for those when you're doing your flips or your burr. All right. We're going to run through this. So the process for you to get started. So again, today's real estate 101. Like, what does it mean to get started in this? Where are we going? How do we get off the couch and get in the game? Is what we're trying to get to. All right. So getting educated, like figuring out your path and learning what that path is and going down it, that's this. Learning opportunities, get connected with that. Build your foundation. That was what we just went through. Your people. Build your people, find your funding, know that it's there. Set up your systems and your tools. We haven't gone through a whole lot of that. Obviously, we don't have time for everything. Um, but we have actually live meetup, next meetup is going to be about data and tools. So, um, doing your market research, building your marketing plan, start calling sellers. You want to get to here as soon as possible. Anybody that's on the fence trying to tip your toes into this business, get to talking to sellers as soon as possible. That's where that calling the for sale by owner sites. Running the numbers, having some help on that's always amazing. Negotiations, property inspections, making offers. You'd make your offers actually before the inspection, but you know what I mean. Um, let's see. All right, finding the buyers. If you're going to wholesale it or partner with somebody, you got to find the buyers, or you find the money. That's what that's supposed to be. All right, get the closing set up, close on it, or sign the contract. If the closing uh, if closing set up to do's for flipping or buy. I don't know what in the world that's supposed to say. Anyway, when you're setting up the closing, understand if you're flipping it or you're doing a buy and hold, what are the things that you need to have in place for that? So your attorneys can tell you, should you hold it in this entity or that entity? How are you going to fund it? Whose name is it going in? Okay. Getting the project completed, rent it, sell it, whatever you're going to do, and then start the process all over again. So this is every single deal we closed on. I don't know, 72. We had like 100 closings buy and sell last year, but we do this over and over and over again. So getting your knowledge, your specialized knowledge uh, in place is going to help you get through those things, those steps a lot faster. When we were first buying houses, you saw that we bought one and then 7 years later bought two, and then it started speeding up. Now we can buy deals and we don't have to really give a second thought to that 1 through 15. We have a system, we have a process in place. We know exactly what we're going to do. So that's where you want to get to. You're not going to jump there, right? You're not going to do it from 0 deals to 30 deals in a year. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start with that first one. That's going to help you get that knowledge. Yes, this is a quote. This is kind of the image of having someone there to help you. You're not going to get to, you're not going to improve your situation just by looking at yourself, right? So I'm glad you're here watching this training, being a part of this live stream, or watching this recording, because these are the type of things that helped us get out of our own head and realize that we don't know what we're doing unless we find somebody that's done it before. Or we follow a book, we follow a path, we follow a course, or we grab somebody and ask them to help us. Okay. So getting part of this community, you've made that first step. Now just don't let it stop there. Right? Keep going into the next. I don't want y'all to be the 90% of people that don't get anywhere. They get scared, they get distracted, they get disappointed, and they don't come back. Okay. So a couple elements to getting your deal closed. We're going to run through this. And this is big. These two reasons. Investors freeze right here. After they get the contract, we see a lot of investors freeze. And we've been selling a lot of houses, and some of our agent friends are listening to this or watching this. They know that those new investors, they're gung-ho to get something under contract, like throwing out offers. Woo, offer, 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 offer. And then something gets under contract, and boy, do they know, they freeze up because they don't know what to do next. Because online, on TikTok or YouTube, all they heard was make offers, make offers, make offers. And then they freeze because they haven't gone down to, well, what's next? And they could be afraid to go down what's next because they haven't been taught, or they didn't get that education that we're talking about, or they actually haven't prepared for the next step. Like they don't have their funding. They haven't found the team. They don't have someone to help them get to it. They don't have an attorney or an agent, inspector, any of that, right? So these are two big reasons. We just had a deal come out of contract today. And I know it was a new investor. Um, tried to. I know he was a new investor, and I know what was happening because he tried to finagle and change his lending, and basically told his agent, "Oh, well, I'm going to do FHA, and I'm going to live in it and flip it." Which we know he was just trying to cheat and get a lower down payment, which I'm sure he saw that somewhere. Um, but he wasn't ready. He was never going to be able to fund that thing. So this is exactly what happens all the time. Um, getting the deals closed. So first step, let the escrow or attorney know. Send all the documents over. Funding, of course, paying your earnest money deposit is super important. If Antoinette's still listening, she knows how important that is. We were going back and forth with a deal. We finally got it closed, and that earnest money was a big deal uh, because the seller, if you don't have earnest money down, the seller can basically say that this contract's null and void and move on and sell it to someone else. Um, and then, of course, you want to start your due diligence immediately so that you can get that. You don't want to. You want to find issues, find out if you're going to buy the house or not as soon as possible. All right, so I'm going to run through these. Y'all can look at this. So it's just these are the steps. If you want to copy this, um, take a screenshot. This is what you want to make sure. If you're making a checklist, and actually we do have a checklist for this. If y'all want the checklist, just let me know. Send me a DM or something. But basically, it's the checklist of how do you get to the closing? So you got a deal under contract. It's get your funding, your buyers, or um, if you're going to buy it, you get your contractors, inspections, contractor bids, line up for the final walk, and get your agent to walk. Property management if you're going to rent it out, insurance, and then of course your final rehab estimate before you close. All these things are before you close, or actually these are all before due diligence is up. Excuse me. This is your due diligence. Okay. Um, and then if you get everything done through due diligence, then you will close on it. These are just some of the contracts. Again, I said this earlier that we can't go through everything on the 101 course, but I do need you to know that these are there, and we have these on our resources tab at dealfindersclub.com. You can find any contracts you need there. Most of the contracts, not every contract. Some different ways to close. We kind of already talked through that already. Again, those are also on the website. The three-step flipping process, this is kind of what we talk about. This is exactly what we go through at the workshop in April. If that's something that you're looking to do, you want to get into flipping, you can check this out. We do. For today's purpose, for you to understand, and again, we're talking about where you are today and what you're good at, what you want to do. Let's understand whose job is this. When we flip houses, me and Michelle, we don't list or close the house. I'm not the attorney and I'm not the agent, right? I'm a very bad agent. I tried once. I'm very bad. I'm not that person. But there's professionals. Hey, how about that? There's professionals that do this every single day. Those are the ones you want to go to, all right? Fixing and the upgrades. We're good at we used to swing the hammers and do all that. Now we pay people that will swing the hammers, but we have the ideas and the vision, right? We're more focused on the finding and the funding. We stay down on this end and we get the professionals to do the other two. So where are you today? What is your experience? Where are you coming to this business from? Find your spot, right? And then figure out who can fit on your team to be the other two. All right, you really only want to live in one area. It's called the Find and Fix the Find and Fix workshop because we focus on finding, funding, fixing, and upgrading. Okay. Here's kind of the expanded version of this. Basically, finding a deal, evaluating. These are all your step 1, step 2, step 3. Ultimately, we stay out of step 3 We get people to do that. We hire people to do this. And this is kind of what our team does. We focus on step one. Okay. I'm going to leave you with this. I think this is one of the last slides of always, always, always get a home inspection, whether you're buying a rental or a flip. Any of those agents out there, you know, you've been preaching this for your whole agent career. These things, it's so important. It's a couple $100. Just go ahead and do the inspection. We have a project manager on our team. Like, we have a team that does our inspections because they're very, very experienced. We don't hire an inspector every time, but we can. Our team doesn't crawl into the house and they don't go in the attic. If we have suspicions of either one having issues, we'll get the inspector out there. When I was working a full-time job and we were buying flips and rentals, I never did the walks. I just sent the home inspector, and I would look at his report and then decide and give that for our rehab budgets, and then decide if this was a deal or not. Okay, so get an inspector, get them in your team, make it part of your business model. All right, so we're back to that question again. We've gone through a lot on the 101 class here. There's a lot to do, but what I want you to be able to leave with, and from those notes you took, the papers that you wrote down, the figures you wrote down, is what is your action plan? All right, today's goal for you to be able to get an action plan together, be able to put one together. See a case. Is be able to get your action plan together so that you can start going down that action plan. You can start going down the steps to building your real estate business. Okay, whatever that path is, whatever it leads you to, whichever arrow or road you took down, go find it, start taking steps. If I can help you with that action plan, let me know. I'd love to try to help you flesh out some of this stuff and put together an action plan that you can follow. All right, we will use specialized knowledge to get there, right? We've talked about this a lot, is what is it that you need to get you to the next step? Not what is everyone else need, what everyone else is doing. Figure out what your path is and go down those steps, okay? That's the most important thing to help you get your business either off the ground or growing, okay? Figure out where you are in this. You know exactly where you're going, so it's time to get some training. You're just reading some books. Now, this can't be too long. You get that analysis paralysis, all right? Don't be sitting here just reading books all the time, all right? It's time to get some work done, all right? Set your goals and get some support and head on down to Success Lane, all right? That's what today is all about, is the steps to get you to success in real estate, all right? I have to put this in here. It's part of the 5 Ds. I said it a lot today. Focus. Don't let distractions take you off of this. Don't let distractions take you off of your path, because no matter what, I don't care what road you picked, whether you're going up and to the left to wholesaling or up and to the right to being a lender, there's going to be some part of you someday, one day, maybe in 10 minutes, that says, you know what? I want to try that other path that goes to fix and flips. Don't get distracted. Stay on your path. Figure out what's the best way for you to go. Yes, you can do all of these things, but not until you've got success in the first one. All right, start that path, start your action plan, and get down, find success before you start branching out. Okay, distractions are just going to slow you down. All right, so here's your finale here. All right, you've got that system. You're focused on it. You're going to set up your systems. You got Deal Finder data if you need data, or marketing. You can go there. Build your team. We talked about your team already. Build them, put them together. Find your funding. It should be on your sheet. How do you stack up? Where are you going to get your funding from? Okay. Market research. Again, using some online resources, you can do that. We didn't do a whole lot of this today, but if you already know where you're going to do your deals, what market you're in, just stay there. I always suggest do this in your backyard first. Your local market, where you are, do it there first. Don't try to branch out, okay? And then start it. Let people know about you. Tell them you exist, all right? Get that marketing out there. Get your deals together, get your contracts together, and start closing some deals, okay? Ultimately, real estate businesses are not dissimilar from other businesses. They all need a system. The reason Subway has the most restaurants than any restaurant in the world is because they have an incredible system. You just walk in and say, I want to be a Subway owner. They'll hand you the system and you go do it. Okay. And then you just repeat, rinse and repeat. They do the same thing every single day, right? That system allows them to grow and be the biggest in the world. People with no systems will shut down. Okay. And this real estate's not like, I mean, real estate's just like every other business. Get your system in place and you can build it. Okay. Got my Miyagi and Daniel-san reference here. Following the people that have done this before. If you find someone that's gone through the path that you want to be, or they're at a place where you want to be, well, see if you can't emulate some of those steps that got them to that path. Don't try to jump to the end where they are if they're 10 years down the road, right? So try to emulate some of the steps. What do I mean by that? Well, if you know the movie, Mr. Miyagi was having Daniel-san wax the car, right? He's like he's just doing this, circles. Well, he wanted to learn karate. Well, Miyagi's smart dude. He's like, you can't know karate today. You need to learn these circles first, which is blocking, turns out. Who knew, right? You needed to learn that first. So just like that, just like real estate, just like any other business, learn the basics, learn the fundamentals, the foundation, build the team, all the stuff we talked about. Real estate 101 is how you get started, okay? This guy here, very famous, not him, but his protege is. He's the mentor of Warren Buffett, okay? So Warren Buffett followed him, all right? That's where you want to be. Follow these successful people so that you can then be successful, all right? And then what's next for y'all? If you're still hanging in here, if you're with us on live stream or watching this recording, y'all, you got to be ready to take your next step. If you hear this to the end of this, and I know you're ready and excited to take your next steps. So I want you to get that action plan together. That is what you are going to do from the notes you took today, from those questions you filled out, what your time, your money, your energy, the credit score, all those things, your goals, put all that together with your goals and make an action plan. If you need help with that, let us know. Our next event is going to go through and presented by Deal Finder Data. So we're going to talk about the systems that you can use to get down your action plan. All right. So I already told you success leaves clues. I'm going to leave all the clues that we can here on our YouTube channel, in our learning community, a learning center. We have all of these videos, all of these trainings are there. All the past events are there. If you need access to that, let us know. Those are the clues we're trying to leave behind, right? Just trying to give you guys some resources to get this business done. And so, to a great quote here, you don't have to be great. You just got to get started, okay? You don't have to be great to get started. You do have to get started to be great. So on that, I'm going to leave it for you guys. And if there's any questions, please let me know. Send me a link. Send me a DM. If you do want to have the strategy call, a quick action plan review, just go to chatwithandrewlucas.com/15 or shoot me a DM, leave a comment on this video, and we will get you there. All right. I'm going to ask, I don't think there's any questions. I think we're all great. We're all gravy. Thank y'all for being here. And I just want to say a prayer. We pray for you all. We love you all for being here, and get out there and take your steps. Go out there and find what is going to work for you so that you don't waste too much time. All right. So thank y'all. Be safe. Love you. We'll see you at the next Deal Finders event. Bye.